Is this thing rolling?
Are we rolling?
Oh
my God.
I love it. So welcome back to This Takes the Cake. My name is Alyssa.
I am Hannah.
And we are the Charleston and Atlanta office owners.
Yeah.
So
just celebrated a year.
I know, just celebrated a year.
It's crazy.
And I'm going on 5, which is insane. But fun fact, Hannah got her start with S&B because not only were we friends, but I also became her wedding planner.
Correct. And we met
yeah.
because our significant others were in a wedding. It follows us everywhere we go.
Exactly. And we were the significant others outside of the bridal party.
Mm-hmm. And you're like, I'm a wedding planner. And I was like, oh my gosh, I've worked with a wedding planner.
Yeah.
And then here we are.
And she was like, I'm not quite sure I want to do social work or things along those lines anymore. Mm-hmm. And it worked out perfect.
Yeah, I woke up one day and I was like, I want to do something else in my life. And Justin was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't know. And we were texting.
And I was in Atlanta.
And you were in Atlanta and you lived a whole neighborhood away from me.
Yeah.
It was so weird in Charleston. And I was like, I'm going to open an Atlanta branch. And you're like, I mean, you could.
Yeah.
And Sarah reached out like, a day later?
And here you are.
A month later, I moved from Charleston to Atlanta, dropped out of my master's program, bought my business, and launched it all within a month.
Magique. It was perfect. Literally 1 year in and you're killing it. So
yeah. It's been over 30 events and bookings in the first year.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And honestly though, going from like social work to wedding planning, what brought along the interest? Like
well, I think you could really apply it to the job, right?
Yeah.
You know, especially in such a diverse population like Atlanta. You learn a lot about culture and religion and you know, whatever, all those variables. And so you can apply that and be empathetic with your clients, you know. So I think that's great. And I mean, let's be honest, we deal with some crazy people.
Yeah.
So I mean, it works. I think it, and people like it. I think they like that I come from a different background.
Definitely.
You know, they're like, oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
You definitely have a different perspective on it. I definitely think I'm a little bit more empathetic with my clients. You know?
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah.
So, and I'm a bride myself.
Yes.
So
I know. And being a bride yourself teaches you a lot about planning.
Yes.
So
it teaches a lot about yourself too.
it does. It definitely does.
Yeah.
What you want for them, how you can't make a decision for your life when you're the one planning.
No.
It's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because you see things so differently.
You do.
It's crazy. So tell us, we talked a little bit about how I got into S&B. So tell us about how your 5 years started with us.
So I was born and raised in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
God bless your heart.
And listen, I love it. Don't hate on it. But I planned events for my sorority in college. And I was like, if I can do this, I can do anything. And I just knew that I loved it and I enjoyed it. And I was just looking for internships like in Charlotte near Winthrop and at Myrtle Beach. So I was like, I could either stay near school or I could come back home for the summer and do that. So I looked it up. Honestly, the first summer that I reached out to Stunning and Brilliant, they already had their interns. So I was like, I'm going to try next time. So the next summer I tried. And then it worked out that they had a spot open for an intern. So I interned for Sarah, and I told her from the get-go, like, I've watched my dad run a business. Like, I wanted the freedom, you know, all of the things that come with owning a business.
Yeah, it's in your blood.
Yeah, it definitely is. And literally, like, a month in, I will never forget it. Sarah was at her desk. She turned around, and she looked at me, and she was like, well, would you want to start the Charleston branch? And I was like, how do I do that?
Like,
yeah.
Not like just any, like Charleston.
Honestly, yeah. I was like, so how do we do this? And literally like 4 months later, I signed on to have a franchise. I know.
That's so awesome.
It's crazy.
You're killing it in I almost said Atlanta.
Thank you.
Sorry.
I know.
In Charleston.
One of these many cities.
I know.
But it's really been amazing since then.
Yeah,
so.
and you're killing it.
Yeah. Obviously, I got married April 2021. And planning as a planner is such an interesting experience.
And you got married in Charleston.
Yes.
It's not like you went somewhere else. Like,
No.
You literally got married in your city, so.
Like, I was at home. I remember having multiple weddings that month leading into our wedding. I did have the weekend off before.
Okay.
But even from start of engagement, which was November 2019, all the way to April 2021, we're constantly working. We're at these events.
Yeah.
You could make a decision.
Yeah.
And then you're like,
the
wait.
next weekend it's gone. You're
Exactly.
like, wait, that, never mind.
I know.
Or, oh my God, I like that better.
Honestly, yeah, for sure. Like, and it's so funny because you learn so much, but making decisions are so hard.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we did these venue tours and my mom came to Charleston and I was like, let's go walk through these places. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, I already know these places and what I want. So we went to our venue, we walked through it and I was like, Mom, like, I just want to cancel the others. Like, I already knew what I wanted, but I think I just needed the backup.
What were some other ones that you were going to tour?
Yeah, so I really liked the idea of Kiowa. Like, Kiowa Island's obviously beautiful. You know, like the ocean course and all of this out there.
Yeah.
You know, but honestly, I mean, Middleton Place is so gorgeous. Like, I just knew.
Can't beat it.
Absolutely. No, and we were planning multiple weddings there. And then, I mean, ever since I got married, like, that relationship with them has been amazing. I love their team. You know, I've worked there, I don't even know how many times since then.
The brides have a different respect for you.
Definitely.
For sure.
Yeah. And I feel like going in, and granted, like, I was relatively new to planning when I started. So it's kind of funny how things have even changed now. But yes. So like going into wedding planning, I was like, okay, I definitely want like the long head table. I want long family tables. Like I want to do blues and whites and the garland on the head table, you know? And now I look at it and I'm like, okay, like maybe I should have done bud vases and maybe not blue and white.
Yeah.
Because it's so popular. Like I definitely could have thought outside of the box a little more. And like, I don't regret anything. Like it was amazing, but it's just so funny. Like you see all these things and a lot of things have changed in the past almost 3 years.
Even in the past, honestly, like couple of months.
I mean,
like you see these mixed match bridesmaids dresses and all these bold colors and just different ideas on how to do things. It's just, even I'm like, phew, I mean, I don't know, like that. I'm keeping it simple, but I mean, sometimes it's
definitely.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess like, what were some things leading into your wedding where you're like, I know I want these things at my wedding?
Yeah.
Like,
definitely. It's just fun. Like the biggest things I think were the head table, the garland, the blue and white color palette.
So your whole wedding, you're like, I know
I knew I wanted those things.
Yeah.
Like I knew I wanted, so my sister and my best friend were my maids of honor. So like I knew I wanted them like in a different dresses than like my bridesmaids.
They were kind of like in a grayer color.
Yeah, they were like in a grayish blue, like dusty blue.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the other girls were in like a light blue. So I did like that.
That's fun.
You know, yeah. So like as time has gone on though, I'm like, oh, I could have like introduced a pattern. Like it was the April wedding, you know, so I could have gotten a little more creative with it. But I think at the time it wasn't necessarily popular.
It wasn't.
You know? So like now we're on this end where obviously you're planning and we're planning your wedding.
Yeah.
And you've seen all these trends that have popped up since April 2021, since I got married.
It's hard.
You know? So
yeah.
like,
I mean, I'm keeping it, you know, it's in December. I knew I wanted it in an off season. That was important to me. Like I've done plenty of April and Mays and Octobers and like, well, you know.
Yeah.
And so I knew I've always been like a winter person. So like it worked out. Obviously, honestly, I feel like venues are kind of getting away from like off-season prices, but at the time that was still a thing, and so
in Charleston too.
Yeah, right. Well, right, yeah. So I'm getting married in Charleston, and so when we had toured our venue, I was like, I mean, I guess I'll just do December. Kind of looking back now, probably not the brightest decision we've ever made because like my birthday's in December, our engagement date's in December, Christmas,
the holidays.
So it's like we literally just like wrap it all up in 1 month, you know. So the rest of the year is kind of boring, but it's fine. But we picked December. I don't regret it, but I am keeping it with the whites and greens. And so now I feel like I do so many like floral boards for whites and greens, and florists are like, okay. And so I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm like one of those brides, you know, I'm like, sorry, you know, but
it is beautiful though. And it's classic. Like, I don't think you're ever going to look back at having white and green florals and think like, oh my gosh, that was trendy.
Remember when I texted you the other day? I'm like, I'm working on this for a client, and if I could go back and pick a different date and do it differently, I would do this. And it was like the orange and the blues and the yellows. I'm like, it's just so beautiful. But here I am with the whites, and it's fine. If it's December, fine. Like, I knew I didn't want to do, like, red, you know.
No.
You know, that's just not what I wanted. And,
Definitely.
like, you really are limited. Like, I mean, you could do pink if you really wanted to. Like, this pink
For sure.
fit, you know, so went with it. It's fine. It's great. You know, I'm going to do, like, the fur wrap. So just fun. Like, you know, it's, you know, and, like, my brides will be in, like, some or bridesmaids will be in some long sleeves, like, whatever. It'll be fun. It'll be beautiful. But it's a different take to Charleston, I think, which is nice.
Definitely, which I like.
I mean,
think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
And obviously, you are a planner, but you have a planner who is me.
Free money.
But
no, I'm just kidding.
oh my gosh. But obviously, we work together, but still, like, what would you necessarily share as, like, the benefits of having a planner, even though you are one?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely can, like, run with things when I just don't have time.
Right.
You know, like, I'm like, hey, I have this idea. I don't have time to venues or, like, research in Charleston. Can you figure this out for me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is nice to know, like, obviously I know your values and how you're going to run a day. Like, not only do
Absolutely.
I work next to you, but I've worked for you,
Yeah.
literally at one point. So I know how the day's gonna go, and like I trust you to get it done. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be beautiful. So I think that's nice. Just going in, like, I don't worry about the day at all. Like, I'm just like,
Absolutely.
whatever. But I think it's mostly just having somebody to bounce ideas off of.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah. It's like someone in your corner.
Yeah.
You know, like somebody that could save you money on certain things. And, you know, and necessarily if it isn't the market that you're in, like Atlanta and Charleston are different.
Yeah.
So the connections that we have can help you.
Very different.
So, yeah.
Very different.
Right.
It's fine. They're both great. But, and even, like, you know, I do so much advocating for my own clients and contract negotiation. Sometimes I'm just like, Alyssa, can you please negotiate this for me? I just don't.
I know.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like, and I think it is great because you do so much with so many other brides, and it's important to feel like you're the bride every once in a while.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
I think having a planner kind of makes you feel more bridal in a way.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know, you know, so it's like those little things, like, you really do forget how, I don't know if you felt this way.
Yeah.
You don't really feel like a bride most of the time.
I know. And it can feel like work very easily.
It is.
And like, even on my end, like, my lead planner led our wedding day. Like, she did month of and all of that good stuff for us. And being on the other end of that, waking up on wedding day, not worried about a thing, I was like, this is amazing. And you think you know everything until you get married. And then I had all this insight from my clients, you know? So, I mean, it makes us better at our job. Yeah. But it's definitely important to remember that, like, we deserve to be taken care of, you know? Yeah. Like, having somebody there on day of.
Like you said, in your corner.
Exactly.
Literally, yeah. I mean, it's great. And, I mean, I did hire you before I was a wedding planner. Obviously, I had worked.
True.
I had worked with wedding planners, you know, over the years. At that time, I was still pursuing social work and kind of balling on the budget a little bit. And I know what that's also like from a bridal perspective of starting with one budget and kind of it branching into a lot of other things and it really growing. And so people are like, it's stressful. And I'm like, I know it's stressful.
Yeah.
I know.
You're like, I'm living it.
Yeah.
I know it can be stressful.
And even just like, honestly, just the price differencing over the past.
Definitely.
Like when I started, because a little tidbit is I've been engaged for almost 2 years now.
Plenty of time.
Yeah. So like, just even from that, it's totally different. The pricing is insane.
And that's the thing, like, even in Charleston, that's why we're like, it's so important to give yourself plenty of time, start early, book the vendors that you want. And that can be a pricing thing. It's like, I mean, our prices change like year after year as well, you know, just as the market changes. And I mean, you're just kind of trying to match what is going on in wedding world and all of our markets. So I don't think there's no such thing as too much time.
There's not.
So,
I mean, you definitely start to change your mind after a while. Like I said, would I have gone with white and green for? Probably not. But it's not that, like you said, I'm not going to look back because obviously our wedding is going to be very timeless. You know what my dress looks like, things like that. But like, gorgeous. I know in 20 years I'll still love it, but it's like, man, am I going to change that? But I think I told you yesterday we were talking about this and we were saying like, what are some things that we knew we wanted at our weddings and how that's changed now. And I told you, I was dead set on having a donut wall.
Listen, I get it. But when you talk about trendy, I do think that's one of those things that can just phase out. You might look back at that and be like, that donut, like, is melting off of the wall. Like, it might not. You know, and like, listen, and we tell our clients that too. It's like, listen, you want to do the donut wall? That's fine. But I'm like, it's most likely going to sit there and then it's going to like melt off or stretch and it catches germs.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing really as a planner, planning your own wedding is you can look at Pinterest and be like, that's not feasible. That's not logical.
Exactly.
That's $100,000. That's way out of my budget. That, you know, you're just like, man, it really gives you like a pipe dream. And it that's does. Like something you do kind of have to break down to the client and be like, yeah, that's beautiful, but your budget's this and this is going to cost that, you know?
Exactly.
And like a champagne tower.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. They don't always go as planned.
I know.
You know, and I have a client wanting one right now and the caterer was like, oh no. And I'm like, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. We got it, you know? Yeah. And so a donut wall is actually, especially in the South.
Definitely.
You know,
just the humidity in the air. Even in December, it could be warm. Like, you could be fighting that battle. So,
so I was dead set. And so obviously now I'm not, I want to emphasize I'm not having a donut wall. And even I reached out to our cake baker the other day. She's so sweet. And I sent some design stuff that I wanted added to our cake because I really want it to be kind of like a focal point, which, you know.
Which is always the best.
Yeah.
A cake is a great focal point.
Yeah, and so I was talking to her about that, and Justin was like, didn't you want a donut wall? I was like, let's not talk about the donut wall.
Justin. No.
We never wanted this, okay?
I know.
And so, you know, but it is good. You know, honestly, my venue is beautiful. It's definitely on the cheaper end compared to like a lot of venues in Charleston, which did.
But I don't feel like you sacrificed on quality though.
No, I didn't.
So, no.
And that, but I also feel like, and that we've talked about this as well, that I did get the opportunity, I think it was kind of like a blessing in disguise because I did get the opportunity to save a lot of money in venues, like venue rental, and I can dress it up the way I want to.
Absolutely.
You know, so I am adding chandeliers and things I probably wouldn't have done 2 years ago and not have been able to afford. And
I know.
I'm thankful for that aspect where I do feel like I have a little extra money. You know, a lot of people spend at least like $7,000 to $9,000 on just the rental.
I know.
I'm not spending that.
You know? Well, luckily you don't have to because the venue has so much. And like, those are the logistics, though, that we benefit from being wedding planners planning on our own, you know, because like you kind of know these things going in, you learn as you go, like it's always beneficial. But I think like the biggest thing, and I really was able to relax on wedding day. Like I wasn't worried about a thing. I was actually surprised. And my mom at one point was like, are you okay? Like, you're not
I can see your mom
running
saying
around.
That.
Yeah. Granted, it did rain on our wedding day. I was checking the radar. But that was the most that I was doing. And mom was like, I'm genuinely so surprised that you're not like freaking out. And I'm like, it's okay. Like it's handled. I can't change it. Like I love giving our clients the plan B perspective. Like it turned out great. But
you know how I feel about my plan B.
I know. And I was going to ask, do you feel like you're going to be able to let go and enjoy it?
I think if you're willing to flip that room for me. I can't get married on that porch, Alyssa.
We'll flip the chairs if you want to flip the chairs.
But honestly, that is one thing now where I do have clients who are like, plan B is really important to me. And I think a couple years ago that like I did not even think about plan B when I booked that venue. I was just like, oh, you know, I'm just so excited.
Beautiful, and this is what it's going to be.
It's so expensive.
Yeah,
you know? And plan B just like didn't even hit me. And now like I do have clients and friends getting married where they're like, plan B is so important to me, Hannah. And I'm like, I honestly respect the crap out of that.
Yes.
Because, like, I did not think about that.
Well, that's the thing. Like, I do not want to ignore it until we're seeing the radar week of, and then all of a sudden we're freaking out about it.
Yeah.
You know? And 99% of the time, it turns out beautifully. Like,
it does.
You know? So, like, it really is great. But, you know, I'm glad I'm able to give people that perspective. Like, it's still you. You're still getting married. Like, it is about y'all. Like, whether water is coming from the sky or not, it's going to be amazing. You know? Like, best day of your life. So, you know, you definitely learn from all of those things. But, plan B, it's important.
It really is.
I definitely learned that. Yeah, for sure. Because I think, like, being on the other side of that, I was just kind of ignoring it. Like, I was like, it's going to be fine. Like, it's not going to rain. And it downpoured. So
it
will rain.
You really like kind of get delusional. I even kind of get delusional about some of my like just bigger weddings where I'm like, it's not gonna rain. You know, like
I know.
my big one a couple months ago. It was Luckily, it pushed off till the end of the night, but when I say it downpoured,
Yeah.
it downpoured.
I know.
You know, so, I mean, like, we got lucky it happened when it did, but it just, you do have to think about that. So, yeah, I mean, obviously, we don't face the hurricane seasons and things like that quite like you do. We face a lot of traffic in Atlanta.
Yes. Traffic is like next level. Y'all have like 16 lanes.
And we're still not going.
It feels like 45.
Can we talk about that for a second? Why is there traffic in Atlanta? Why are we not just driving?
Y'all have so much space. Yeah. So many lanes. I always think, I'm like, if Charleston could just add one more lane to 26.
Oh, dear God, Charleston. They just can't.
You know?
They can't move. Like, it's kind of like, it's kind of like South Carolina in general.
Yeah.
Like, please stop moving here.
Yeah, I know.
We don't have room for you.
Yes.
Or just go move out in the boonies. That's where we got room for you.
Literally.
Because, like, we don't have room here. Yeah, it's bad.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we always joke about, like, Charleston eventually just, like, literally expanding out to freaking Columbia.
Yeah.
Because it's, like, it just keeps going north and north and north. And it's, like, we're going to run out of areas to go. Like, even Allendale is becoming, like, an extension of Mount Pleasant. It's crazy.
Yeah. That's kind of how Atlanta is. Because, like, Buckhead, we live in the Brookhaven area. And even, like, Brookhaven's basically Buckhead. And so people are like, oh, my God, you live in Brookhaven. I'm like, I rent, don't want to fool you.
Yeah.
I'm not rich. You know? So
on your way there, though, girl.
Yeah, I will be rich one day, I promise.
Keep planning those weddings.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely been a journey. I don't know if you got this a lot, planning a wedding, but if I could have $1 for every time I get asked this, a vendor will say, oh my gosh, you're getting married? I bet you knew everything you want, and it's easy for you to plan, or is it hard? Like, honestly, I forget I'm getting married most days.
I know.
Because I'm so busy dealing with my own clients, which I love to do. Like, that's not me complaining whatsoever, but it's just like, I forget. It is getting a little bit more real.
Because December is coming in hot.
Yeah.
Like,
it is.
We're close.
Yeah, you know, and we were talking about like layout the other day and just stuff like that. And like, I'm starting to get dress fittings and like those things are starting to get real. But I'm like, no, I don't know what I want. I still don't know what I want. Yes, it's all planned. Please stop asking me.
Yeah, I know. And that's the thing. I don't necessarily know if I got that as much as I got like people putting me on the pedestal of like, you're going to have the most perfect
wedding.
It's
Can I be invited?
Amazing.
I'm going to go to the planner's wedding. It's going to be amazing.
I know.
And it honestly makes you
like,
nervous.
Oh, stressed. Like,
does.
I hope this lives up to the expectations. Because listen, like, even though we're planners, like,
we have a budget.
We might not have a $500,000 budget.
Literally, like,
so it's like I got to match with what we're working with.
Yeah,
so.
these published weddings were expensive
and they're
to
gorgeous, and I love it. But I'm like, maybe we might not be able to do all that.
Yeah, like I mean, like, and that's the thing though is we know the logics of spending the money on a wedding, and it's like it is nerve wracking, and it's like you do feel this pressure of people are like, I want to come to your wedding. I think one thing about I am happy I'm a planner on my wedding day.
Yeah.
It's that, and we've talked about this with certain clients, but your wedding day is a mindset. It's going to go the way that you go in thinking about it. Yeah. If you go in thinking everyone's going to do everything wrong, it's going to fall apart, it's going to rain, it's going to be terrible.
Well, that's the thing. Legit. Yeah. Like, I could have sat there looking at the radar at the rain. I could have been crying. I could have been throwing a fit. I could have been freaking out. Mm-hmm. But I was like, it's our wedding day. This is one day. I cannot postpone. I cannot change this.
It's here.
Yeah. It was like, we're having fun. I'm with everybody. I'm still getting married today.
Yeah.
Like, it's all good.
It's good. Yeah. So it really is a mindset. And so I think one thing that you could take that, doing this process to your clients of saying, like, you have a good team around you. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I do know is I successfully put a good team around me and not had to think twice about it because but like you have a good team around you. It's a mindset. And like, obviously as planners, we know a day is not perfect.
Exactly.
The lights are going to go out. It's going to rain.
Yeah.
The food, something's going to happen. Somebody's going to throw up. Like,
Listen,
a boat will drive by and honk their horn in the middle of your ceremony.
Yes.
But if you let that ruin your day, it will.
Yeah.
It really is all of a mindset. And so I think I definitely will go in with a mindset that, like, I know something's not going to go right. Just don't tell me.
I know.
And I'm good.
And that's why you have a planner. We take care of those things.
Literally.
And it's nice because, like, you do go in, like you're saying, knowing it's not perfect, like, we're all human. Like, sometimes things are going to happen that are out of our control and we just can't handle it. Like, literally on wedding day, we had an issue with one of our vendors. One of our family members had to step in and fix it. But you know what? It was fine. Like,
wouldn't have known.
We survived. I walked through. I saw that there was an issue, and I just kept going. I went to the bridal suite in the venue, and I was like, I'm going to ignore that this is going on right now because my girls have got it.
It's fine.
It's fine. I'm still getting married.
Yeah. And I think it's also the whole concept of also the only person that knows that messed up is like you and the vendor.
Exactly.
Like, oh, the lights didn't go from, they only stopped here and they were supposed to go to there. Your guests don't know that.
I know.
You know, or like
knows.
you went from super lush centerpieces to bud vases. They didn't know you had super, unless you told everybody on your guest list, nobody knows that. So like, don't think about that kind of stuff. Just think about how, honestly, how fortunate you are. I mean, having a wedding these days, it's a luxury.
It is
a
luxury.
And so just be thankful and thankful you have a good team around you that you do have a planner to protect your day. I mean, it's kind of, we are like holding the umbrella and making sure you're standing under it and everything's just falling off the sides and you don't know.
It's so true. Yeah, I know. And, you know, speaking of rain and like how that can make things chaotic, like at the end of our wedding night, we had like one of the, you know, vintage cars pick us up and bless their hearts. These cars sometimes, you know, like they're old, so they don't always work great. So we get in the back, we got our waters, and it's pouring down rain and the windshield wipers weren't working. So like when I tell you the driver was literally like wiping the windshield with his handkerchief on the way down this dark road. We were like, we just got married and we're going to die.
Yeah. Am I going to live to see my life? Like
Yeah. So it was funny. And then the next day we found out that transportation, I guess extra people got on the buses that weren't supposed to. And, you know, they were doing like roll call or whatever. They were just checking everyone was on it and they left. And my sister was like, where's mom and dad? They left them at the venue. So they had to circle back. And my sister was like, whoever's the extra person on this bus, get off. She was like, those are my parents' seats, blah, blah. And mom and dad got on. They were all fine. Like our lead planner even offered to like take them back to the hotel. Like she was the sweetest, you know?
Allie?
So, Allie, she's the best.
Yeah, she's sweet.
So, you know, like even just going back to all those things, like things happen. We thought it was funny after the fact. I didn't even know it was happening. But it was good. Yeah.
Does that take the cake?
For your
wedding?
That took the cake for my wedding.
Okay. Well, if that's your cake, you're living a good life.
I would say so. I would say it still worked out fine.
Because we've seen some interesting situations.
I know.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes, like, when you're going into a consultation with a client, they literally ask you, what's the craziest thing that's ever happened to you and how did you handle it?
I know.
I'll tell you how I took the cake.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it happens and it just, it is what it is. But that's funny.
And it is.
Parents.
I know.
And you know what? I know your dad probably gets a hoot out of that.
Well, I think dad was like 50 Guinnesses in and was just having the time of it. He was dancing on the stage, sweating
he was
through
bruised,
his
remember?
shirt. Yeah, he was bruised.
Like he told us that yesterday.
I know. Bless his heart. He was dancing so hard he was bruised. Apparently.
It's like 3 weeks later, bruised.
Yeah, I know. Bruised. Yeah. So he was having himself a good time. I think they were just hanging out, doing their thing. Like,
love it.
Talking to Allie and hanging out with her, not even realizing. And then, you know, I think my sister is on the bus realizing it. And then they're in the venue realizing it. It was like, oh, like, we don't have a way to get back.
Yeah, we're stranded. And, like, it's kind of like out in the middle of.
It is.
Nowhere.
It is.
Like,
I know. It's a long road.
Am I sleeping with the goats tonight?
Yeah.
Or the sheep?
The goats?
Is
yes,
the sheep?
the sheep.
The sheep. I'm sleeping with the sheep.
I know. They're the best.
Yeah, that is a cool part about your venue, for sure.
It definitely is. We love the sheep. It was amazing. Honestly, so we're in the ceremony. You know, we're doing our thing. We're getting married.
Yeah.
We kiss.
That's the point.
It's official. And they say, now introducing the Etheredges. Our last name is Etheredge.
Yeah.
You know?
It's one of those moments where it's like, please read your timeline.
I mean, like, we work together, you know?
She's unique.
Yeah.
You know?
Bless her heart. Things happen.
Yeah.
But I was like, I leaned in. Everyone knew, of course. I leaned in. I was like, the Etheredges. And she was like, oh. I was like,
I could so see. Oh,
no. I know. She was like, oh.
Oh, no.
The Etheredges. And, you know, so we do our thing. We get sent down the aisle. But
Yeah.
honestly, I totally forgot about that. So I would think that takes the cake
Okay.
for our
Good
wedding
cake.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's unique. I do know her with that hat. We ain't the Kentucky Derby. We're a wedding.
I mean,
Your wedding was so beautiful.
that's fine.
That's fine.
The Etheredges.
Yeah. Yeah. It's okay. Well, Justin's last name is Moss, and it's spelled Maas. You know that.
Yeah.
But everyone calls him Mass. So
Mass.
I just know somebody's going to say Mass on their wedding day. It's fine.
I'm sure.
It's fine. It's to be expected. So at least we'll be twins.
Exactly.
Having our names mispronounced
I
on
know.
the wedding day.
I literally
Mikey Lee, if you're listening, the last name's Moss.
I can bet you Mikey will get it right.
I know.
I love him.
He's awesome with his British accent.
I know.
People are like, oh, did you do a band or a DJ? I'm like, DJ? He's British.
He's British.
I
And
always
it's
lead with that.
automatic. I love
Oh,
him.
wow. It's
Yes.
fun. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, wow. Yeah, but it's going to be a good time. So what were some things that you knew you did not want at your wedding? Because I definitely have a couple.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Line dances. I do not like
It's fair.
the cha-cha slide. I don't want to hear the electric slide. I don't want to. None of that. None of the line dances.
Yeah.
No bouquet and garter for me,
That's fine.
which I do feel like is a dying trend.
It is. Most people
But
don't do it anymore.
The thought of
Did you
my
cake cut?
dad watching all that,
It's so awkward.
it's a lot. So I was like, I'm not going to do it. And I also didn't want to ruin the momentum, you know? Like I was like, if people are on
It
the
does
dance floor
break up
having a good
the
time, I didn't want to like stop to do that.
Yeah.
We did do a cake cutting, but it was private. Like people went on the dance floor.
And
like
you were just doing your own.
it was fine. I was like, I just want to go over to the side and do this with him.
how most of them are now.
Yeah. I was like, I also don't want this to be another momentum breaker. So,
I get it.
you know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, like you're planning weddings and seeing all these things at weddings. Like I know you have a list. So what's in your mind of absolute do nots?
Well, on the normal side of things, I knew there were like I didn't want a huge, humongous wedding.
Yeah.
It's just not what I wanted. I knew that. I
It's a
knew I
lot.
didn't want like a huge bridal party. But I'll tell you something.
I'm ready.
The first wedding Sarah ever had me work for S&B when I was looking at buying my franchise. She's like, oh, I have this wedding. You can go work with Karen. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. Yeah, cool, whatever. I show up. He's in a flamingo suit.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah. It's on the beach, which is just like red flag. You know,
I know.
like, it's just on the beach.
There's a lot of factors on the beach.
Don't get married on the beach. Just don't get married on the beach. And I show up, and he's in a flamingo suit. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's not on like a private beach, you know. So like they're out there getting married in their flamingo suits, and people's like butt cheeks were hanging out of their bathing suits.
Oh no.
They don't care. And when I tell you, like, when I say they don't care, like, I'm not just saying that. Like, they will walk past you, stand behind your aisle, and like watch you get married. Like, people don't care.
I saw that growing up.
Yeah,
like
they don't
literally
care.
growing up at the beach, we would be hanging out, obviously a distance away because we knew not to, but the amount of people that will stand there in their bikini, hands on their hips.
Oh, it looks like a wedding's going on.
Imagine that.
Imagine.
Just a normal day at the beach. I'm like, everyone away.
Look at that flamingo suit. Yeah, no, it was awful. So anyway, wedding happened. And we move on to the reception, and I hadn't been in the reception space yet. I didn't do any of the setup. I was just kind of like doing the wedding. And I walked in. They had like cotton clouds above the dance floor. They had rainbow napkins, like yellow, green, purple, blue, pink, whatever. Red, I don't know. And they had like this like flamingo cake. And I'm 95% sure I could have baked a better cake with one hand.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was so bad.
No.
So bad. It was so bad. It was so bad. It was just, Karen was pregnant, and I don't think anyone knew at the time. So she was like, I think she was in the boot. I think she was in the boot.
Oh, the boot
She was in
and
the
the
boot.
baby. Oh my goodness.
She was in the boot. And so it was just all around just a hot wreck. Anyways, I learned what I didn't want. I didn't want Justin to be in a flamingo suit. I didn't want rainbow napkins. I didn't want cotton clouds above my dance floor.
And listen.
And like,
to each their own.
to each their own.
To each their own.
Truly. But I was like, oh, Lord.
So does that take the cake for you?
Everyone ending up on drugs at the end of the night takes the cake for me.
Stop it.
I'm pretty sure the whole wedding design was just an acid trip.
No way. I don't even know what to say. Listen.
Serious.
What?
Yeah. Yes. Some of these people. We see a lot of things in Atlanta.
I know.
You name it, I've seen it.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But, you know, there were definitely things I knew I didn't want. So, I mean, all...
She's like circling back.
I know I don't want my, not my clients, my guests to be on drugs. So please don't show up at my wedding on drugs. Thanks.
I don't feel like it's a hard ask.
And that's not the last wedding.
It's a wedding.
That's not the last wedding I've worked where people were on drugs.
Listen. Hannah, what?
I gotta get away from the beach.
Are you attracting it? Like,
I gotta get away from
are
the
you
beach.
the magnet? Like,
I think so.
Girl.
Hot mess. We won't say any names, but we know which wedding we're talking about. So,
Oh my God.
anyways, long story short, if you're a guest, please don't do drugs. Okay? We're already nice enough to provide alcohol for you, which already most of the time ends poorly.
Full bar. Full
Like-
bar. You know?
Like,
I mean, it's good stuff.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
But please don't do drugs.
Yeah.
I think long story short, it's been a journey. I'm ready for our wedding to be here. I'm sure you felt the same way. You're
Definitely.
like, you start to work weddings and you're like, okay, like I'm ready for this to be me. And I'm also, I'm kind of ready for it to be over. And
Yeah.
planning and like just to kind of like, be married and move on. So
I know.
yeah.
And then
I
you
get
go
it.
on your honeymoon and it's like the best time of your life.
Well, thank you so much for listening.
I hope
It's not
they
the
enjoyed us.
juiciest. But I think it's good information. I mean, like,
I think it
yeah, if
is,
you're planning, if you're a
yeah.
vendor about to plan your own wedding, like,
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
but-
listen, if you're planning a wedding in Atlanta,
yeah.
Hannah can spill all the tea about how to get in contact with her.
Contact me, yeah. And you're in Charleston.
Yeah.
But obviously you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We're on the threads now.
We're on the LinkedIn.
Ooh, yeah.
I know.
We're real
So follow us
professionals
on
here.
all the things.
Facebook.
Obviously, you can visit our website. And then if you want to email me, Alyssa at Stunning and Brilliant. And then we've
Yeah.
got Hannah at Stunning and Brilliant.
Hannah, something about H at the end.
Absolutely. We'd love to talk to y'all.
H-A-N-A-H,
So
yeah. We do.
let us know.
Yay. Thank you.